and feel free. The bathrooms at the back, more tea and coffee. If you can't eat formal, we've got red wine here. If anyone feels like a red, we can pull that out too later. And it's a very significant day today as well, being Sorry Day. So I'll hand over to Djon.
Yeah, thank you. Hold the applause until the end. Thank you for Lauren for until the end. My name is Djon Mundine, and I'm actually a Djon person from northern New South Wales. By fault of an accident, there's something in your life that you end up doing many things. And I should have said I started out as a coal miner, but here I am in a job now. Sorry, I make all these sarcastic comments. But it is a sorry day, and I think the thing that I learned in my life was never to be sorry, in the sense of never thinking about that something happened and that made you incredibly locked into a sorrow, that you have to keep thinking positively about whatever happens and get beyond that, keep striving to speak and say things. Now we're here today in this beautiful place on this little cove, the little bay here, and with this great indoor-outdoor setting, which must be one of the few art galleries that I've been in Sydney that has such an indoor-outdoor viewing. It's I was just telling somebody just a minute ago, one of the best art museums that I've seen in the world, if not the best, is a place called the Louisiana Museum outside of Copenhagen in Denmark. And it's a very Denmark designed building in lots of ways. But one of the best things is they have an inside-outside approach to the way they hang things. So the man, it's a private museum, the man who set it up is dead now. He was a confidant or friend of Karen Blixen, who wrote Out of Africa. Those people, and Peter Luger, the Dutch and the Danish novelist. So he was a man of culture. But the point of this is that he said to me one day over lunch, he said, I'm an art person. He said, but if I go inside an art gallery, he said, within half an hour or so, every painting looks like the other painting. You can't really, you're losing perspective. And as he said, there's nothing wrong with that. So I've been involved in art all my life. And he said, so you've got to have nature and culture. Culture is a human reflection on nature and reality. So all of that museum, at least half the walls of that museum are windows onto a beautiful garden that's about 100 years old. At least inside a horseshoe shape, that you have to look out and in. You look at a painting, you look outside, you look at the water, you look at nature. Now we're here on a thing called Sorry Day, and we're here to honour Teena McCarthy, who's here, and I'll shut up after this. So much it's really Teena's day, and she has nothing to be sorry for in that sense. But I just need to say that we have a huge debate going on, and among certain people, half the population at least, about how do we honour our history, how do we speak to the truth of our history in the country if we're really going to go forward. And I think I quoted in an article about Teena, Richard Flanagan wrote, I gave a speech at the press club in Canberra, the National Press Club, and he said what we need to do is to reimagine who we are. We have to accept out the truth of our history, warts and all, and we then have to think about, well, who are we? If this is who we are really, what do we do to reimagine how that happened, how we make sure it never happens again, and we make amends. We reimagine ourselves morally, ethically, and of course economically and so on. We have a different view. We said that history was changing, and although we as a nation, Australia, seem to have this idea that we're this God's own country, with not only physically, because it's God's own country, but this moral, great egalitarian society. It's like the chess game, it's an egalitarian society, it's an egalitarian game after you push all the black pieces off the board, and then it's you're only dealing with one colour. So I think people have talked about there needs to be another day other than this thing called Australia Day. Maybe it should be termed differently, but certainly it should be thought differently. That this was the day that made Australia was the day the British arrived here 250 years ago, whenever it was. That was the day that made us and makes us now. That kind of thing is what we've got to reimagine and think about, because within a hair's breadth of history, we could have all been part of the Chinese Empire. Well, we may again become part of the Chinese Empire with the breadth of history, but certainly before 100 years before Captain Cook arrived here, or lieutenant as he was then, there were Chinese people, Chinese fleets came here and could have just as easily have colonised the country as well. And many things in Aboriginal people's culture, language and practices are thought to derive from the influence of Asian people from the north. Teena, of course, is another thing from the north, another influence. McCarthy is an Irish influence, and the influence of Catholicism. Richard Finnegan wrote in his award-winning book that called Death of a River Guide about a man in Tasmania who used to take people on boat trips up the river in Tasmania, and how by an accident he became pinned under the water, and as he drowned he saw his life go through, as they said. Don't tell me how, but people always say when people drown that you see the life go past you. I don't know, anyone's come back to tell me that, but anyway, or somebody just missed it. They got to the exciting part and they saw their life flash before them, and then suddenly they were brought back to reality. I said, please take me back. So he said there were three ways. He thought about his own life, he thought about his family life, and he also thought about the life of the nation of Tasmania in white settlement terms and in dreaming terms, in spiritual, the land, environmental, spiritual terms about the land. And I said that in Aboriginal terms, we also come through three strands with violent junctions that hit us and make you change, what they call a decision box. In computer terms, computer programming, you come to a decision box and you go this way or that way. There are three things, and one of those is we live as a dreaming person, and then we've had the brutal attempt at annihilation of all Aboriginal people on the continent, so that people could run sheep and cattle unhindered. And that history goes right across the continent. Everywhere people have come and taken over the land, to run sheep or cattle, and occasionally wheat, which takes a bit more effort to actually work at. Those colonisers found Aboriginal people the biggest pest to their attempted occupation, and the best way to deal with that was just to exterminate people. So that's the second part of an Aboriginal existence. And the third part is the attempted obliteration of Aboriginal people through assimilation, being come to be an Aboriginal person who can wear a suit and tie and know what a good wine is, or a knife and fork. You use the right knives and forks. Things that most Australians up until now, or most in my life, couldn't tell you that. We used to drink terrible wine before in my youth, and no one knew which knife or fork to use in particular dinners. And part of that is the Creole, the word Creole, mixtures of different races and cultures, that all of us now are Catholic. Not necessarily, some of us more than others, not the Prime Minister, but certainly, if you think about bald heads and piles of bald heads, that Christianity is what I mean, how that's come upon us. And I think most Aboriginal people would say they're Christian, even the people like where David Gulpilil comes from, or very traditional people would say, yes, I'm Christian. But their idea of Christianity is another type of Christianity, but certainly a more Pentecostalist type of Christianity, whereas Teena and myself, for that matter, are more Catholic. We're Irish Catholic. Are there any Anglicans in the room? Alright, yes, over here. We've got one here. Sorry. Anyway, and there used to be a very binary nature. Aboriginal people live in a binary nature of more like yin and yang, like a Dura and Yuricha, or down here was called eagle, hawk, and crow, a binary system, like positive and negative, or yin and yang. And when we then became assimilated and we became civilized, we discovered that white Australians lived in a binary too, a lot of Anglicans and Catholics, that we then had to suffer through, whether we were on one side or we weren't the other. Anyway, photography, Aboriginal people existed with a portrait, ideas of self-consciousness. We knew who you were. When you were born, you were taught to be conscious of who you were, and you knew who you were. You were Barkindji, you were Bunjalung, etc., and these were the places you came from. You learned that through living within the society you lived in, and you were taught to be self-sufficient. To be self-sufficient in the sense emotionally, you knew how to, you could cry or laugh or to be happy, to make your life happy, that you had a responsibility to be happy. But if you cried or you were intensely sad, you were allowed to do that. You had a consciousness of yourself as a person and as a not really an Aboriginal person, that's a Western term. We would say we're a Barkindji person, or we were a Bunjalung person, or we were Gadigal, etc. And you were emotionally a set of rivers. And she actually came from another place called Western Australia. She was born in Western Australia. But her family are from the Barker, the Darling River, that everyone in Australia wants to be obliterated. They voted for it to be obliterated. We were would sell all the water to some place in the Cayman Islands, where they're short of water in the Cayman Islands. They're surrounded by an ocean, but they're short of water. So anyway, I'll stop my comedy routine and tell us the story where you were actually born in WA, in Perth, which also has, the whole of Western Australia also has a great number of rivers, and they also have a great sense of the spiritual nature of that country. You have your own mind.
Yes. I was born in Perth. Welcome everyone. I was born in Perth, West Australia in 1962 at a time where there was a lot of changes going on in Australia. And my family, my mother was Italian and my father Irish Barkindji. So people find that a bit confusing, how I can be both.
So maybe go back to your grandmother.
Oh yes.
We were talking about.
Yeah, my paternal mother was my father's mum, which is Nana. And my whole exhibition is based on my Nana, my father's mother. She was a Barkindji woman that started her life in Broken Hill. And the River Darling are our ancestral lands. She only spent a short amount of her life there before she was somehow taken to WA, where she worked as a domestic servant / slave on outback stations. Now, I'm still putting the pieces of the jigsaw together, as many of us people do. But she then worked from all sorts of places, in all sorts of remote communities, working as domestic. So, as a child growing up, I just know I used to love my Nana. I loved going there every weekend. And I used to play at a place called Sister Kate's, across the road from Nana's. That is a place where the women from Rabbit-Proof Fence ended up living. A couple of them lived there for a while. With that place came Aboriginal women, mostly single, like Nana, who had illegitimate children. Nana's case was my father, was an only child. Sadly, he was then removed by the government of her. This was all hidden from me. It was like a hidden history that I wasn't allowed to know. All I knew was that we had this connection to this place and that Nana liked this place and felt affinity with Sister Kate's. So I grew up pretty much playing there on a Sunday, and Nana was very involved in Sister Kate's as a fete, which they became famous for, where she'd make pickled onions and piccadilly and things for the fete. I just knew she was this deadly strong woman without actually knowing she was Aboriginal. And I just adored her and very much spent my whole life, once she passed, looking for her story, determined to find it. And all of that has really come together for me in the last 10 years. I found via Link Up, which is a government organisation that helps you find your family. I found some information through that. And various other organisations. To be honest, the government organisations weren't so happy to give me information, but I've now had my story told to me by the Barkindji. I've had people come to me from Broken Hill saying, we know who your family is, and we know who you are, and you're one of us. So oral history in Aboriginal culture is very important. I think a lot of things, especially around the turn of the century, weren't written down, were spoken about. People know the stories. So yeah, that's been my story so far, cut short. And yeah, that's about it really. My art career, I've painted since I was 7. Self-taught painter, and Mum put me through. Mum knew I was creative and wanted me to be a dressmaker like her, or tell the dressmakers, which I did do sewing, but basically she celebrated all the creative things that she saw in me, be it pottery, painting, whatever. And then I grew up, and at 15, Mum encouraged me to go and get a trade, because having a trade was really important. I was still grateful to her that she made me do that. I went off and became a hairdresser, makeup artist, which then gave me 35 years of a career that was really interesting, where I travelled. I ended up teaching hairdressing. I ended up after working overseas and coming back as a hairdresser, I ended up working in Aboriginal communities and taking hairdressing to the people. I found myself in Alice Springs, working at the sort of local cafe, but wanting to get out to communities and didn't know how to do it. Again, I was invited to do that by a woman at the Rock, who invited me to Uluru to come down and do a bit of hairdressing. So that, I did that, and it was, rather than, someone having a white person come on check day, take all your check money and cut your hair, I would go and live in the community, and there was no charge for my services. And so I would teach people, because I wanted them to become self-empowered and self-sustainable. That was in the early 90s. After spending a year in Berlin, it was quite a juxtaposition to go out there. But being on country, I knew I was a desert woman, because I felt so comfortable out there. I just love being in the desert, which I feel like is my nana coming through, actually. So I went for a week and I stayed 5 years to 6 years, and I taught hairdressing on communities about 500 to 600k out of Alice in every direction, which was really one of the highlights of my life, actually. And then I came back to Sydney. I was offered some work on film. So I came back and worked on film. I lived here in the 80s, so I travelled and came back. Yeah, so I continued my art practice. Even though I was doing all these things, I continued to paint, whether they be small paintings or whatever. I then followed the career of just trying to educate myself as a painter. Going to various places, different art schools, and whilst I hairdressed during the day, I did art at night. Then, best thing happened in the world. I was acknowledged by the government. I got a piece of paper in the post, and on that piece of paper it said that I was an Aboriginal woman. That changed my life, that piece of paper, because I'd known it all my life, but I wasn't able to really tell the story or prove it in any way. I just felt it spiritually very strong. I'd had lots of experiences that told me so. So that piece of paper, I jumped on my bike, I went to the nearest gallery, professed to be an Italian Indigenous artist, and instantly was recommended to the SCA, was headhunted by COFA, and ended up starting a degree, which I finished 5 years ago. So I did a degree in painting major in fine art at COFA, which was UNSW Art and Design now. I think it was COFA the last year I was there. So that's been my story so far. I've spent 5 years of exhibiting, and many times I've been lucky enough to show and have Djon's support in my shows. I basically just love my work, and I just continue to keep doing it. And it's always the story of country, coming back to Nana and what her life story was. Yeah.
So, sorry, we've only got one mic. So obviously your grandmother, it's curious that there's a thing about in Aboriginal society here about everyone has a grandmother who's Aboriginal. In fact, what's so funny is that a lot of people who live in the country, they actually do have a grandmother who's an Aboriginal, because usually that's what autocracy of all those wealthy kind of station owners disavow that they actually could possibly be of Aboriginal descent. There's a hotel I used to stay at in King's Cross, or Potts Point, sorry, which was like the artist hotel, and they used to employ actors and art academics and art writers on their staff, as part of their staff. So they had this guy who used to live there. I used to work on the front desk, this young guy who was in the TV show Heartbreak High. Anyone seen that show? Yeah, I lived a long time away from TV, so I couldn't know. But he said, I'm into Heartbreak High. And I'm, yeah, right, okay, whatever. But he came to me one day and said, look, can I have a talk to you? And he said, yeah, well, I said, you know, I just need to talk to you. And he said, yeah, so we had a glass of wine on the roof. And he said, I had this funny thing happen to me. He said, you know, I come from a reasonably well-off country family. And we have a property, etc. And he said, my grandmother recently died. And he said, I wanted to go out to see her and that. And he said, I went out to wherever it was, Forbes or Inverell, I forget where it was exactly, and said he went back there and sort of got to the house, the family house, and all of his schoolmates were there, and he said, yeah, they're all redneck, yeah, they're all down below the pub over there, fucking abos, and all this. And he said all this was going on, and he said, yeah, you know, it's all brushing this off, and eventually the family got to meet the grandmother who's at death's door, lying in bed, and everyone's gathered to see her before she dies. And she's sort of laying there in this classic movie scene. She's sort of going, yes, I just need to tell you something, you know, I will tell you something before I go. And everyone's going, yes, there's a harsh I said, yes, we're really Aboriginal. And the whole family like, I know, we're not Aboriginal, please, oh God. I'm going to go to the Country Women's Association. I'll be chucked out of this, you know, the Caledon's Association. And everyone's like, and he said, what do you think about that? And I said, that's really great. I said, how do you feel? And he said, oh, I'm so happy. So I'm really, really happy. I'm of Aboriginal descent. And he said, it's really great. And he says, I've gone to the Land Council. I went to the local Land Council. I have my certificate of Aboriginality. I did all my research. And we are so happy. He and his wife and family are so happy. But I just thought that I've got to work that into a script, movie scene somewhere. This thing of her kicking the bucket up. And that's like as your confidant to talk to. And I've got this problem, you know, my parents are giving me a hard time. You talk to that person, and that person is also the person who gives you your nickname. Like you might have a name like Djon, Mundine, Chapel Jari, or whatever, etc. Or Djon Mundine, the honeybee, or whatever, another bush fly. That kind of thing. But you get a nickname, you're called like Shorty or Lefty or, you know, whatever, that kind of nickname, not a totem name, you'll get another name, or sourpuss or whatever. That kind of thing, that's your mother's brother, your grandfather on your mother's side gives you that nickname. And that person, that family is in the skin name system is where you would normally marry into that generation over there. They're the people who you marry into that group. So it's curious in the way down here, people, when I came back to living down here, who said, oh yeah, they found a grandmother somewhere. Of course, in actual fact, that's the best thing you could do to find that grandmother, your mother's family, is the correct family for you to attach to and socialise with in this other way, beyond your parents or on your sibling rivalry that you have with your sisters or your brothers. You have this other better relationship with this other group. So obviously you're very attached. You could try that again. You seem to have a magic artistic touch. And push it up.
Hello?
Yeah, that's it. Just hold it close. So obviously you're very informed about your grandmother's in all these images. Yeah.
I feel like she lives through me, if that makes any sense. That her spirit continues on through me. My drive and strength, whether it be in the face of adversity or celebration or whatever, she's always there. And I just still love her in the way I did when I was a child. She was everything to me. I didn't really connect with my Italian side of the family. There was some issue where they fell out over the veggie market garden or something, the 6 sisters, and they all never spoke again, and that was fine. I really didn't have much to do with that. And nor was I interested in that. It's something I've only just recently started to be a bit more interested in. But really, my nana was my everything, and I just wanted to be strong and amazing like her. And yeah.
So you started as a painter when you went to art school. You were a painter, but you obviously quickly moved into photography. It's what was, obviously, some people would say, or a certain art critic last week wrote about everyone in the art world was using photography and not painting, doing the real deal. They were just using their little finger in a pointerless fashion. So how you do, I've seen you paint, but what was the move to photography?
I think I'd always loved photography. I'd also, especially when I was out in Alice, I documented each time I went to a community. I was allowed, once obviously I asked, to photograph everybody while we did our special hair workshops.
Well, the other thing, of course, is you self-photograph. So everyone does this selfie now, as we call it. You'd hardly call these selfies. They're very much like Renaissance paintings.
Although they are, for instance, these Ophelia style ones here and here, I actually did go to the River Darling and lied in it and did do a selfie. So those are ones that I then, because I'm an experimental artist, it just so happened that it went towards photography more than painting. That one I painted and then rephotographed. So it is sort of part painted, part photographed. So really, once I got to art school and made a good job of conceptualising my work, I started, leaning down the road of photography more than painting. And just trying to experiment with different mediums and materials, really.
Well, and of course, Aboriginal people were very early subjects of photography, very soon after the French. It was sort of thought that the French brought modern photography into being in France. That spread around the world very quickly. So very soon after that, you have Aboriginal people being photographed in South Australia in the 1840s, but they don't exist anymore. Those photographs destroyed or lost somewhere. But then about 1847 in Victoria, you have images of Aboriginal people that still exist today. And so being photographed by somebody else, being in previous times, I'll just make this comment and I'll shut up, the thing that you've got work that's more to do with broader human conditions stories, like the Ophelia, the woman who, is struggling with self-identity, and very much so, and drowns herself. If you, I don't know, we're talking to manly people here, but there's this play by Shakespeare, called Hamlet. It was Danish, obviously, and style. As I said, the best art museum in the world is in Denmark. He couldn't make up his mind whether he was really in love with this person or that person, and she felt that more than him. And she's very famous for drowning herself. All these people now, certainly younger artists, enormous numbers of images of both men and women pretending to be Ophelia in the river. So I did ask you at the time, is this a birthing image, or is it Ophelia dying? Is it a death image? Because in classical Aboriginal terms, being in the water, all Aboriginal souls are like little fishes in the water. Before you're born, you exist as a little fish in the water until you find your mother and you enter your mother to become a flesh. So that's what I meant by it as a birthing thing. Is it birthing or is it death?
For me, it started off as death. Within about 2 years, I had my ex-partner die of cancer very suddenly, my mother and my cat. And it was like, for me, I was planning death, and death was happening all around me. At COVID, they suggested I stop doing that because they noticed the pattern that was starting to happen. They were nervous if I continued to paint death. But it then became a rebirth. For me, it was both. It was rebirth as well, very much so. It's kind of fluid in that my next series, which was of the bushmarried domestic servants, went across the land. So for me it was about coming from the river, rebirth, coming back to life, and then going across the land as a domestic slave and working on those stations. So that's how I explain that, but it's very much both to me. Yeah.
It's interesting to me when writing things about a portrait exhibition that's going to take place in Cairns, C-A-I-R-N-S, in Queensland, and about Aboriginal portraiture. And there's this idea that's in general portraiture, not just Aboriginal portraiture, that to get a good portrait, you have to see the eyes of the person. The eyes are the eyes of the window to the soul, etc. And all of these, none of these, you've got your heads down, your eyes are closed. Even, well, I can understand the Ophelia one, under the water, but these other ones, in silence or in like a death mask.
That wasn't even a conscious thing, Djon. It just made me realise that. It's something that's just happened, actually.
So these obviously are of, this is you, your grandmother, through yourself, but that was just something I realised, that you avert the gaze of the camera looking at you, you're sort of averting, looking back. What do you think about it?
I think, given that I'm wearing a kopi, which to those that don't know is a sorry cap, that mostly women, some men more, at stages of grieving, women would pick up the gypsum and put it on their head and do this many layers depending on their grief. Sometimes it might be 7 kilos and women would bleed into the gypsum and wear it for 6 months or something. They would then place it on the grave. There might be some other markers and things around, but this is what was done as a way of grieving. So when I created these copies and put them on, I instantly went into a sense of sorrow. I call it performance photography because really I am doing a performance, but it engulfed me, the lament that I had whilst wearing one, and I could almost feel the displacement of the many years in my family whilst doing it. That's my main reason, I think, was wearing the copy. I didn't feel like I wanted to look straight at the camera.
What's in the poem on your face here, this is like a death face, a death mask. But what's the poem?
That's actually writing.
Yes.
That's in
the letters.
No, it's in the book there. That is the Thomas Mitchell journal, and it describes when he first saw these copies, when he was doing his exploration of the River Darling, and he came down, and at one point on the Darling he saw these white balls along the river, and so it's in the book, the original journal I have here of his, where he speaks about that whole exploration, travelling down and meeting different mobs along the way, killing many people along the way, but on the way they saw these copies, which they didn't know what it was, and then they discovered they were on mounds and banks, and so it's a description that I've taken out of this book and put over my face as a way of protest, really, to talk about what happened there.
So the mound here would be something like a cairn, similar to the C-A-I, and the Scottish cairn, where when the clans would meet in Scotland, I'm told, pre-Mel Gibson, they used to take these stones, they take a round stone, so there'd be piles of stones, and there's actually one here down back a bit in the harbour at Moscow. There's a cairn of stones, Scottish stones. All the Scottish clans who came out here, usually as indentured labour, slave labour, they would often work out here, or they could stay in Scotland and starve to death. So they came out here and were shepherds and stockmen, and they worked in languages. But with this practice, this has culminated in this piece, which we're really lucky to have. That's in the sense of you took up the Kingswood Molson into this piece in that award that won the award last year. Kingswood Molson are a very large law firm, international law firm, and part of their reconciliation action plan, that's called, the thing is to take action rather than just make nice words. Lawyers are full of words, but they could actually do something. So they employ people, they've got cadetships for Aboriginal people, and they put up an Aboriginal art award, which will be next year in Melbourne. It's in Sydney last year, it's a biennial every 2 years. And so putting people, you can give people jobs or cadetships or etc. But this is a very visible process. And especially when you're on work like this, if you want to talk to this.
Again, I think when I was in this deep sorrow and deep lament, I'd also been writing poetry about this whole process and this work. Winning the award was one of the best things that's ever happened to me, to be honest. It certainly catapulted me up into the art world in a way that I hadn't been shown before. I was super stoked, just that people could recognise what I was trying to say with this work. People were interested in it. I really wasn't sure. I thought if I might be lucky I'll get third. But to actually win, take it out was such a huge thing for me that changed my life, and within a matter of days I was offered this fantastic exhibition by Catherine Roberts over there. And so since then I've just continued working and this show's come about. But yeah, thank you so much to you both over there, Sarah, Berkeley, Cox, because yeah, wouldn't have happened without you.
I think I've always thought that if you, I'm told this is a bad practice, but if you do the right thing and you keep doing the right thing, that in the end the world, especially as an artist, if you keep making good art, that eventually the world will come to see you. Because it may not be in your lifetime, but they'll come to see your art. Like Vincent van Gogh, who couldn't sell a painting for love nor money, and then suddenly it's become one of the most major figures in art. There was a huge balloon of a portrait of Vincent van Gogh's head, how many meters, 50 feet tall or something. That was one of those big hot air balloons which was flying around Melbourne a couple of days ago. It's, you know, it's just it's a curiosity, but the fact that everyone would know him, would know his face, and I see this work in that sense of that some people will come to know this image because of how important it is, given the law firm putting up this prize. And I knew Teena would be, I encouraged Teena, I encouraged lots of people to make new art, to go in, and she came up with this piece, which became very important. The story of the Barker, the Darling River, is now one of the most important stories, despite what happened at the election. It's one of the most important stories that we all know about. And I mightn't have said it last time, but just when I was here at the opening, the story of the 1 million fish that died and the water, so no one can actually drink that water. The town can't drink its own water in the river. And how it's just totally ignored. It's over there somewhere. We forget about it. And this is within the country. It's not like it happened in India or South America or somewhere in the Amazon. It happened, you know, out western New South Wales it happened. You can imagine if there was 1 million fish suddenly died here, you know, despite the efforts of Tony Abbott or whatever. But they all died. What effect that will be all over the news. It'd just be incredible. The government, the council, couldn't ignore this. They'd have to do something about it rather than hand out bottles of water from Avignon in Switzerland, which is virtually what they're doing over in Western New South Wales. So I was really happy that this was in this. And the fragility that's on Butcher's paper, which most of you would remember, I think, what a butcher was. And Butcher's paper, which usually they come in these little polystyrene plastic things now, where they rolled up in such a fragile material as befitting the fragility of the environment. etc. that we're living in. What I'd like is, anyone got any questions, please? Somebody can't, I couldn't be more provocative, you could have said something.
Thank you both very much. It's been a fascinating conversation. You mentioned that you had a sojourn in Berlin. How did your Berlin sojourn inform your current practice, or did it? Or in what way did it?
No, it's totally different.
Sorry. In Berlin, they were asking me if I was German, from Sweden, Switzerland. I was getting all sorts of people commenting on my identity, and then other people going, no, you are German, you're one of us, you should just stay here, which I did for a while. I had a good time. But then after that, there was a need for healing for me personally and spiritually, which is when a good friend of mine said to me, why don't you come to Alice Springs? Just come to Alice. And I was like, do they even have shops there? Like, what, Alice Springs? But sure. And I jumped on a plane and went there. And having all that happen to me in Berlin, which was great, I was hairdressing there. But again, people fascinated by who I was and what was my combination of bloodline. When I got to Alice, it felt like coming home, but instantly people would come up and say, who's your mom? Every time I went to community, who is your mom? You've got a mom. We're telling you you've got a mom. Who is the mom? Man was from Broken Hill, At the time I didn't even know what Barkindji. But it was just an interesting part of that life journey of exploration that led me to the desert, which again, like I said, I just felt so at home there and wanted to do something to change, to help. Sounds cliche now, make a difference, but back then it was about making a difference, giving women scissors, products, and hair stuff to play with, and that's what we do for a whole week. I'd go and live there, and by the end of it, the women were dancing and celebrating. Also wanting to involve me very much in that process of celebration. And but that would be.
Teena, I was wondering, when you realised that your grandmother was Aboriginal woman, and then did you notice and find out more about her mother and their history and that?
Yes, and I've been to Broken Hill. As I said, I did some of this work lying in the river. So my search has been a lifetime search, and it's almost a book. But I have since, like I said, I've had the Barkindji come to me in Newtown, where I live, knock on my door. We know who you are. We've been looking for you. And I'm like, what? I've been looking for you. And they're like, but we look alike. You're actually related to me. That then led me to Badger Bates, who's a well-known artist, Barkindji elder in the community. And he said, you're my cousin, instantly. He knew straight away who I was. Again, I went to his house, and the strangest thing happened, and that is there was only one photo of me and my nana when I'm really young, looking at her in my Holy Communion outfit, looking up at Nana with such love. That photograph was on his kitchen table. Now, how does that happen? I was like, how has this happened? How long have you had my photo of Nana and me? And they're like, 20 years. I'm like, who brought it here? And they're like, Louise Clark. And I'm like, sounds like Lois Lane or Clark Kent or something. Really, how on earth does that happen? And they said, well, a relative has brought it to us. That has then led me to find out that my great-grandmother was the woman who brought up Badger Bates,
He was very old now, he's really old.
Yeah. Now that woman's actually a legend, a legendary figure called Granny Moisey, M-O-I-S-E-Y. You can Google her. She's a fascinating woman. So at this stage, it's still oral history, but that was my great-grandmother. And that's been a really interesting, still going, ongoing thing of finding.
That grandmama was in photographs that were taken in the 1870s on the river by Bonnie, this man who ran a property there, but he also took photos. And those photos have grandmama in a widow's cap. There's a number of photos of her wearing a widow's cap. He took lots of photos of men preparing for ceremony, they were painted up, etc. And this group photos of Aboriginal people just standing together, and you can see this woman with a widow's cap, who's the grandmother Mosey that you talk about. Yeah. Well, go on.
I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the material that you
Yeah, sure. I tried to keep it as real as possible to what they were originally, which is originally used kangaroo or emu sinew to make a net, and then they might use twigs and the like. And then gypsum, literally straight off the ground onto the head with water. I've made a bit more of a political comment by using a paraphrased biblical, well, it's not the Bible, it's a paraphrased biblical book, and put that inside just to start with. And then I've used cotton wool, which is cotton, obviously, as we know, it's stuffing up the darling really badly. It's where all the water problems are. So I've used cotton wool as my next layer, and then I've used gypsum on top of that. Yeah, so a few comments in there, but basically I tried to keep it as real as they are when they're born. Yeah.
And is that something that women would do together? Or would want to do that sit together and do this stuff?
From my research, it's been a singular thing, that grieving thing of people wanting to be alone and do them alone. I think there's times where, I'm sure there was times where there's groups of women doing it, because this mound of copies would be the thing that happened. So whether it happened over time with individuals or with groups, I can't really tell you. But I imagine both would have been the case. Yeah. Like in Thomas Mitchell's book there, he says, there was a mound with all these balls of white on it. They didn't know what they were, of course.
There's a company, Candos is the name of the town, and Candos is the name of the cement company that used to exist. It's now doesn't operate in Candos anymore. But there's an art and cultural festival that takes place and so in this they invite artists to come and do things. We've both been invited to come and make work in response to the local community. The local matriarch, a woman called Lynette Syme, Aboriginal matriarch that is, of that area, her husband died last year, and I suggested this idea. We had a conversation that Teena will actually do all her art together in a sense. She will restyle Lynn's hair in conversation, as I'm told hairdressers do. They have this intimate conversation, a discursive social discourse of the town and the society while they trim their people's hair or style the hair. And then about Lynn's husband dying and talking about her mother dying and her loss. And then she's going to apply a copy and that will be filmed in front of a group maybe as large as you, and we'll put coffee, etc., and whatever, and people can come and watch this process and hear the conversation and we're going to film that, and that will be then projected life size. Go on, yes.
Memory loss and
Can I just
sorrow.
ask one last question? Congratulations to your legal firm for sponsoring the art prize. I've never seen this before. I think it's absolutely stunning. Perhaps I've missed something, but to where is it going to go?
We've been lucky enough to have it travel around.
But after that, I mean, it deserves maybe the portrait gallery in Canada.
Yes, thank you.
And you might encourage that, I don't know.
Yes. Well, I've certainly been encouraging people I don't get out and about. I'm not a social person. I'm not in the Women's Country Women's Association. But certainly, I propose that the Art Gallery of New South Wales, for instance, they're spending $600 million on a new building. Perhaps they can spend a few grains of sand giving some money to artists. That's the thing with the King's Wood policy is that it's a non-inclusive prize. So you get the prize money, but you can still then sell the work to a lucky person or an incredibly gifted institution. And I've certainly put this, I'm going to revisit the Art Gallery of New South Wales to say, look, you've got all this money, besides a new coat of paint and whatever, you could actually put some pictures into the collection with your $600 million new building. That's what we're suggesting. So that was the last piece I was going to ask you two, whether you want to say anything about the prize.
Well, obviously, we're on law firm, and so the importance of using our consciousness of fairness and equity and our ability to advocate, I think was embodied in our desire to use our profile to try and encourage reconciliation, and the Art Award was one example of that. We're thrilled to have Djon as the patron of the Art Award, and he played an instrumental role in identifying three judges, Carol Pinchbeck, Johnny Jones, and Bernard Kenny. And so we felt that with Djon's input came from the right place, and we were thrilled to get an amazing quality bunch of artists, including Teena. Art Atrium is still your agent, is that right? So we mentioned maybe them and these works or similar works that have been available for sale, haven't they, through Simon Churn. So we're thrilled and so happy that you won Teena, and so thrilled that it's played a role in transforming your career, and really looking forward to seeing you go from strength to strength from here, and good on you, Djon, for looking after Teena and encouraging her all the way.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much for that very insightful and talk. And I mean, I'm always, when we speak to Djon, and we learn something new about Indigenous history and stories. He's so knowledgeable, and we're very fortunate that he's makes himself available to be part of the conversation and accessible to us all. And he's done such great work with Mawson Art Gallery, and I believe there's another iteration of Bungaree coming up. So we look forward to seeing that with great anticipation. And for his support of Teena, which I didn't know from the outset. And Djon opened the exhibition and now has done the conversations. This is the first time we've worked with Djon in that sense, and it's great to have him here in Manly. We're glad that he likes the indoor-outdoor setting we provided for him. And of course, this was a very significant place and site of first contact. It was actually called not Manly Cove but Eve's Cove, because of a lot of Aboriginal women and children whom the First Fleeters saw here, as well as men. But all around here, North Head and Dogwood Point, Burringo Chase National Park. We're surrounded by sites of great significance. And of course, there's a poignancy and a beauty in that that story that we help to continue to tell through our exhibitions program. So thank you for coming. And we did leave the tea and coffee out, or if anyone would like a glass of wine.
Sarah wants to say something.
Just one thing, I believe he was going to recite the poem.
That's right.
You can tell a joke or I can start rabbit.
Go on, yes,
Well,
sorry.
I was just wondering if you could, do you have a date for the candles event?
It's in November.
Third weekend.
Huh?
Third weekend.
The third weekend in
Are you the
November.
publicist, Leah?
Yeah.
Thank you. And the other thing is that another great Aboriginal woman artist, Tracy Moffat, her show will open in Mossman in July. Yeah, July. And I'm supposed to open this. So who was the Australian representative at what we call the Olympics of Art, the Venice Biennale in 2017. She was the first solo Aboriginal artist, period, to be picked to represent Australia in 2017. And 90% of that exhibition will be shown in Mossman. You'd have to look for the exact date. It's in my computer. I should have written it down, but I should have written it on my forehead. But anyway, that's a great show also. But Teena is a complete, I call the universal homo or whatever. As Leonardo used to say, I'm a universal person. I do everything. And I used to say Aboriginal art is everywhere. Aboriginal people are everywhere, and Aboriginal people do everything. And she is a poet, as befitting, and she'll read to us a poem. Please hold the mic.
Again, this is in honour of my Barkindji Nana, and I went to Broken Hill, and when I was making these shots of lying in the river, I went over to Silverton. I don't know if anyone's been to Silverton, just outside of Broken Hill, but it's the most haunted little place. I think they made Mad Max down the road or something. Anyway, so that's when I wrote this poem. It's called BHP, Be Humble, Please. Black by day, white by night, this broken old town, all battered and burned, high gutters in case of a storm. Silver and gold, God, yes you were born. You gave yourself so mercilessly, bromide, chromite and lead. You were bled, dry, like the riverbed. Oh my darling, river of young and old, where if you're lucky, you might find gold. Women in long dresses, formaldehyde and babies' clothes. The faces of the strong men who came in droves. The settlers all hauled up in a house on a hill, with a chapel and an old donkey just standing in the mud near the well. When just over the hill, 10k out of town, there you were, your plains, as red, as dry as the riverbed. Published by Verity. It's published by the lovely Michelle Seminara over here, who runs Verity La, which is a fantastic online poetry journal and writing journal, which is online. And so I was very, yeah.
And we'll be publishing with a chapbook container very soon. We're working on it next month, aren't we, Teena?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we
So
have.
it's going to be a little chapbook that we're going to publish from Regular Press, full of Teena's poems and images. So she's going to give us that.
Very lucky.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.